Twin Journals, Part 1. On a hot summer night in Chattanooga, Tennessee, a college party is in full swing at a ranch on the outskirts of town. Sounds of young men and women laughing, yelling, screaming filled the air and mixed with the music that was blaring from the speakers. The party was on 10. The music was lit, and people were slamming drinks and shots back to back. All but one girl, who was sitting Indian style on the hood of a blue broken down pickup truck in the front yard under a huge tree. The girl's name was Mikenzie Monroe. She had fair skin, green eyes, and long red hair. She looked over her shoulder at the party and thought she had to be alone tonight. It was for the best. She felt one of her episodes was coming on, and it was best to keep a low profile, especially after what happened a couple of weeks back. She had held it together for 1 year. 1 year since she had killed anyone. Baby steps turned into giant leaps. Progress. That's what her father always said. Too bad she killed him too. She scribbled silently in her journal. She wrote everything about every day down in it. Every feeling she ever had, every guy she ever slept with, every detail of the sex she could ever remember, every bad thought, every murder, everything she had ever done written down in her journals. She was writing silently when she noticed the girl making her way up to the truck. She smiled at her and went back to writing. The chick walked up holding 2 cups. As she got close, she started dancing and booty popping. Mikenzie laughed and said, "Girl, your goofy ass gonna spill the drinks before we have a chance to get lit." "My goofy ass got a whole bottle in the car," she said. "Don't play with me," on beat, while she snapped her fingers and nodded her head back and forth. Her name was Julie. She was a pretty Mexican girl with a nice booty and a smart-ass mouth, who loved to party and took a liking to Mikenzie for some odd reason. She was the only person Mikenzie really got cool with since she moved to Chat 3 years ago. They became so close in the dorms that they got an apartment together 6 months later. Julie handed Mikenzie a cup, and they cheers while spilling it on each other. "Watch my journal, big-ass girl," Mikenzie said, laughing. "Your mama," Julie said, rolling her eyes while still dancing to the beat. "Why are you over here instead of over at the party making bad choices on what guys to take home tonight anyway?" "Not tonight," Mikenzie said while shaking her head. "Look, it's a 2-to-1 vote. Let's go." Julie started pulling at her arm. Mikenzie, laughing, pulled her arm free. "Who else is voting, Julia?" "My vagina, bitch," Julie screamed while pointing at her crotch. "Miss Millie needs some attention, and you're the wingman, so bring that ass on." "I know you did not name her Miss Millie," Mikenzie said while snorting from laughing so hard. "Yes, I did, and she is needy as hell. Those finals killed my spirit, girl. I need a meat correction to realign my energies," Julie said while striking a Zen pose. Mikenzie grabbed Julia by the shoulder, still laughing, and said, "You're stupid. But I'm good tonight, and don't roll your eyes." Julie rolled her eyes. "You know, with everything that's happened these last couple of weeks, I need to chill and just clear my head." Julia ran her tongue against her cheek, slightly mad, while giving Mikenzie a stank look. "It's Evan in that stupid video, isn't it?" "Girl, the way the world works, nobody's thinking about that video no more. Shit moves fast, and that's yesterday's news. So we gotta leave it right there in the past where it belongs." Julia fixed her hair and put her hand on her hip like that was the end of the whole conversation. "Okay, you win," Mikenzie said, throwing her arms up. "I'll come down after I write a few more pages in my journal. I promise," she said while stretching her arms for a hug. Julia shook her head and reached in to embrace her bestie. She kissed Mikenzie on the cheek, then locked eyes with her. "He's just one stupid guy. Don't let him stay rent-free in your head, please." Julia put a finger to her head and tapped it slowly, but Julie continued, "I'll let you be. But I'm coming back if you don't pop up somewhere around this party, girl." Julia started backing up and dancing. "That ass of yours looks too good to sit on a truck all night and not be out here shaking that thing with me." She turned and walked off, got halfway back to the party and turned around and yelled, "Rent-free, girl." Mikenzie nodded, waved, and pulled her hair back behind her ear before going back to writing. She wrote, "I love Julie. That girl is a mess, but she's my mess. I wish I could show her the real me, but I know I never could. She would freak out. I mean, who wouldn't? I always had to hide the other piece of myself from everybody except for my first and true best friend. Sorry, Julie. Erica. She was the only person on the planet who knew the real me. Hell, the first time I killed somebody was for her. But the bestie's back home in Clarksville. I have to be careful here with no backup when things get truly out of hand. Which brings me to Evan. Mckenzie looked up from writing as the people at the party started popping off fireworks. A cat ran from up under the truck at the sound of the booms. She watched the colors explode in the air and then went back to writing. Fireworks, she wrote. I forgot the 4th was around the corner. The exploding colors in the air make me miss home. My big sis loves fireworks, but it's best if I just stay away. Hell, my sister Michaela probably wasn't going home either, and I'm not dealing with my mom's shit by myself. Back to that asshole Evan Woods. First off, journal, I know it's my fault because of my kink. It's the main reason shit blows up in my face. Since I was a young girl, only 2 things ever really got me hot and bothered. 1, the act of killing. I found this out after my first kill. I got home and pleased myself for hours. 2nd is messing with men and women that are taken. Something drives me wild about having what's not yours. Seducing another's love into your bed. Forbidden fruit gets me every single time. I know I have more issues than a comic book series, but I am who I am at this point. This world is one big shit show anyways. Who has the right to judge me? But tonight is all about Evan. A 6'2", blue-eyed baseball star in the making. Also the world's biggest douchebag. Normally I would never go for the popular guys, but Julie got into it with his girlfriend Kat a couple of weeks ago at another party. Kat is an entitled, blonde-haired racist bitch who thinks her rich family runs the city. Kat was too drunk and joking a little too loud with her friends about Julia's outfit. She was telling them that if she needed a job to afford better clothes, her family could always use another cleaning lady. Now look, Julia's from the bad side of Nashville and doesn't play about 2 things. 1, being Mexican, and 2, coming from a poor family. So Kat got her eye blacked that night, which was funny, and she 100% deserved it. But Kat didn't let it end there, and with her family's influence got Julie put on final notice at the school. So leave it up to little old me, I found it a little too good to pass up when her perfect boy toy, days later, was pressing me in the hallway between classes. This wasn't new. Everybody knew Evan was cheating on Kat besides Kat, who I suspect isn't that dumb and turns a blind eye to keep up her image of a perfect life on social media. So we talked, and I gave in. Figured I would have some fun. Spend a night with Chattanooga's star boy and take some pics when we were done and send them to Julie so we could laugh about him behind Kat's back. But Evan had other plans and set a camera up that night in his room. We got drunk and very nasty, and that asshole got it all on camera. He showed a couple of friends, those friends showed friends, and 2 days later, it was viral. Everybody around campus had seen it. Kat took to social media to slut shame me and spun a story about how I took advantage of Evan while he was drunk. In the end, they were victims, and I was the red-headed whore who hung out with the violent Mexican girl. It would be funny if it wasn't complete bullshit, but they don't know me. Not the real me. And tonight, I would give them what they wanted so bad, to be the most famous couple in the city. Mckenzie shut her journal, looked back at the party and smiled. It's showtime, she shouted, and hopped off the hood of the truck. She made a note to burn her journal later, a practice she was taught by her father. He told her and her sister to keep journals as a way to deal with life, then burn them once they were full and start a new one, as a symbol of a fresh start. Never let the past hold you from your future, he always said. She missed him, but she took a deep breath and said, "Focus, Kenzie, focus. Game's on." She slid the journal into her backpack and zipped it up. She checked her outfit before heading out. Mckenzie was wearing a gray crop top, black and gray leggings with black sneakers. Cute but functional for tonight's game, she thought to herself while slapping her own ass. She slipped the sleeve of the backpack over her shoulder and made her way towards the party. First off, she needed to find Kat. She pushed her way past the crowd of people partying and dancing in the front yard of the ranch. The party was packed and going crazy at this point. She squeezed in between girls and guys wearing glow-stick jewelry and dancing hard to house music. Everybody had on bracelets and necklaces and even glasses that lit up. The smell of weed and liquor filled the air. A pretty dope party, she thought, as she finally made her way to the front door. A group of guys were drinking by the door, and one of them recognized her from the video. She was sure. "Yo boys, look what we have here." The musclehead talking was wearing a red cap, no shirt, and football shorts. He slid in front of the door to block Mckenzie. Why the rush, sweet thing? He put his hands on Mackenzie's hips, trying to get her to dance. She played along, dancing with him and smiling. Me and the boys saw your video a couple weeks back. He looked over at his friends and smiled. They smiled back. We were thinking. Football players think, she said, smiling, still dancing. She put her arms around his neck. His friends laughed. Yeah, we do, he said, smiling. You know what we think? Mckenzie shook her head slowly. You should come party with us. Maybe work on a second video. The rest of the guys on the porch started laughing, dapping each other up, and one of them even started humping the wall. Looked at his posse, pleased with their response. Mckenzie smiled and kept dancing, turning him so he faced the stairs that she had just walked up. So what do you say, baby? Want to play with the big dogs? He moved his hand down at Mackenzie's back to grab her ass. She smiled and moved his hand, leaned close to his face. You and let me see. 1, 2, 3 of your friends for the whole night with little old me? He shook his head slowly with a stupid grin across his face. Baby, that seems like a terrible way to spend 20 minutes. Then she rammed her knee hard into his crotch before pushing him down the stairs. He bounced off multiple steps and hit the ground hard. He groaned and grabbed at his nuts with one hand and his ankle with the other. His friends pushed her out of the way and ran down the stairs to check on him. The last one they got past her called her a crazy bitch before going down the stairs. Mckenzie looked down and noticed that the guy that she had just pushed lost his hat. She picked it up and put the bill in her mouth, while taking a hair tie off of her wrist and tying her hair up. She slipped the hat on and pulled it low, hoping it was enough to keep a low profile while she put her plans into action. She swung the front door open and started nodding her head to the music. The inside of the main house was huge with high ceilings and had exotic animal heads all over the walls. A tiger, a rhino, and a moose, to name a few. All the furniture was moved to one side of the room to allow people to dance to the hits a different DJ that was set up on the inside was pumping out. Mckenzie was wondering where was Julia when she spotted her backing it up on a cute guy in the corner. Mckenzie smiled and shook her head. A mess, she said out loud. In the back of the room, Mckenzie spotted Kat. Bingo, she said, as she started sliding past people to make her way over. Kat was headed into the kitchen with a couple of her girl minions that followed her everywhere. Mckenzie slipped into the kitchen with her back facing Kat and her hat pulled down low. She stood in the line to get food and shot glances over at Kat. Kat was wearing a tight black dress and heels with her hair pulled in a bun. She had on diamond earrings with matching bracelet and necklace. A perfect southern belle, Mckenzie thought to herself while rolling her eyes. The line moved up, so Mckenzie grabbed a plate and threw a little hot dogs and rotel on it, while keeping her eyes firmly on Kat. Kat seemed irritated as she walked off from her friends and went to go stand next to the table full of liquors. She poured herself a drink while checking her phone for the 5th time since she got into the kitchen. I gotta get that phone, Mckenzie thought as she finished off her plate with a piece of pizza. That dress, just a little too perfect for my liking, she said under her breath. She walked off towards Kat as quickly as she could and ran into her full speed, spilling the plate all over her dress while dramatically falling to the floor. Kat was pissed and screamed to the top of her lungs, dropping her phone in the process. The whole kitchen turned to look and some people started laughing. What the fuck, she screamed. This dress is worth more than your life, loser. And she kicked at Mckenzie. Mckenzie kept her head real low not to make eye contact and said I'm sorry over and over again. Kat's friends ran over with towels and started cleaning her up. Mckenzie took the time to grab the phone off the floor in a commotion and started fake crying on command. This is so embarrassing, she said as she got up and ran out the back door. Hey loser, come back here. You're gonna pay for this dress, Kat yelled as Mckenzie disappeared outside. Mckenzie ran to the side of the house laughing. Who said I couldn't be an actress, she told herself as she slid her backpack off and fumbled inside. She pulled out a cloth and a pair of leather gloves. She slipped the gloves on and wiped Kat's phone down with the cloth thoroughly. Feeling it was free of fingerprints, she activated the phone. The glow from the phone lit up Mckenzie's face as she put the code in she watched Kat input the day before when she was spying on her. Mckenzie took time to flip through Kat's pictures casually as she walked up a hill towards a barn. Once inside, it was pitch black dark. Mckenzie was already expecting this because she had busted out the lights earlier that night. It was full of old tools and abandoned equipment. In the middle of the barn, there were 2 cars under sheets that looked like they had been there for years, and a big broken down tractor in the middle. Kat's gallery was one selfie after another, and at least 10 from just today. Damn, girl, you love you some you, Mckenzie said before closing out the pictures and pulling up the contacts. She scrolled down till she found Evan's name. She started looking at the text him and Kat had sent recently. She suspected right that Kat was still pissed about the video. After reading a few exchanges between the two, Mckenzie now knew that Kat and Evan hadn't had sex since the video went viral, and she was threatening to break up with him if he so much as even looked at another woman. She also learned he was on his way to the party, which is exactly what she wanted to hear. She sent him a text pretending to be Kat. Baby, I'm drunk as fuck, and I need you badly. I've been soaked all day thinking about you, and I can't keep it from you any longer. Meet me in the barn, and when you get to the party, and break me off real good so we can make up, please. Mckenzie hit send and waited. A few moments later, Evan texted back. Baby, you're the only woman for me. I love you so much. Daddy's on the way. I know I fucked up, but it's all about us from here on out, I promise. Get ready. I'm going to bring the pain train. You love the pain train, don't you? He sent a couple of evil smile emojis, followed by an eggplant. Mckenzie laughed out loud. Pain train? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Evan, you are by far the lamest guy I've ever slept with. She replied, Bring the pain, Daddy. I'm so ready for you, and slipped the phone back into her back pocket. Mckenzie had arrived hours before the party and scoped out the barn for tonight's activities. She already found an old pickaxe and a shovel in the barn and hid them both behind the tractor. She reached in her bag and pulled out a thong and placed it on the hood of the tractor. Kat's phone vibrated in her back pocket. She pulled it out and read the new message from Evan. I'm here, baby. Are you still in the barn? She quickly replied, Yes. Baby, I found us a bottle but lost my underwear somewhere. Come help me find them, please? With winking emojis. He quickly responded, I'm on the way up, baby. I like it when you get nasty for me. Hashtag pain train. Mckenzie took a couple of moments to laugh again at pain train before slipping the phone back into her bag and running off behind the tractor. 10 minutes later, a tall, blonde-haired young man with blue eyes was standing in the entrance. He was wearing a blue shirt that read King Kong ain't got shit on me, with shorts, Crocs, and a shell necklace. He was swaying a little because him and his friends had pregame before they pulled up to the party. Baby, he said, peering into the darkness. Over here, Mckenzie said as sexy as she could while trying to sound like Kat. Evan turned on the flashlight on his phone and held it up, slowly scanning the barn. Babe, where are you? You sound off. How many shots have you already slammed? Mckenzie quietly climbed the tractor with the shovel, careful not to make any noise at all. Baby, I need the pain train, she said, rolling her eyes, but feeling she had nailed Kat's annoying-ass voice that time. He walked deeper into the barn and noticed the black thong on the hood of the tractor. He rubbed himself, smiling. You ready for Daddy, huh? He started undoing his belt with one hand while holding up the phone with the other. He walked around to the other side of the tractor and flashed the light at nothing but an old bike. Babe, he said, confused. I'm not your baby, asshole, Mckenzie said. Evan flashed the phone light up at the top of the tractor and saw Mckenzie swinging the shovel. He started to yell, but the shovel slammed him across his forehead and nose. He stumbled back. His undone pants slid around his ankles as he fell to the ground, holding his face. He climbed down and walked over to Evan. She wore an excited look on her face, her green eyes big and full of life with a wide grin to match. Girls are just toys to you, huh, Evan? He was rolling around on the ground, still holding his face. He lifted one hand so he could see Mckenzie. She had broken his nose on impact, so blood was splattered all over his face and hands. Fuck you, you crazy whore, he shouted. Wrong answer, Mckenzie replied. She raised the shovel high above her head and brought it down with all her strength in between Evan's legs. He screamed, his voice cracked and went high. He started sobbing. I'm gonna end you, he said, whimpering. She hit him twice more. Once in the middle of his back, another shot to the back of the head. Mckenzie, pleased with herself, sat the shovel down, leaning it against the tractor. Evan was barely moving, but still alive. Grabbed him by the shoulders and started dragging him to the wall behind her. You're heavy as hell, she grunted as she got him up, leaned against the wall. She walked over to her backpack and pulled out a switchblade and made her way back to Evan. She stared at him for a moment. He was already almost passed out between the shots from the shovel and the drinking he had did earlier. I've researched all about you, Evan Woods, Mckenzie spoke softly. You beat on your girlfriend when you were 17. And you were accused of rape by another girl just last year. Daddy's money and connections saved you both times, so your record could stay nice and clean. Can't go pro with that on your record. No sir, no sir. She drove her knee so hard into his broken nose she hurt herself a little. Shit, she said, trying to keep her voice down. She hopped around on one leg for a few seconds, then leaned over, hands on knees, trying to catch her breath. Nobody's gonna care that you died when all that comes out in the news. Evan was out cold from the last blow to the face. She knelt down and kept talking as if he could still hear her. Local golden boy kills his ain't shit girlfriend. She grabbed his wrist, flicked the switchblade open. She ran it across his wrist slowly. Then she continued, the asshole scared of taking responsibility for his actions, 'cause he has never had to take responsibility for anything, then kills himself. You won't ever get to be famous for baseball. She grabbed his other wrist and began cutting it slowly, but I'll make you infamous. She stood up, watching him pour out from both his wrists. I know your girlfriend is so clingy, she will ask your friends where you are. I know you have to be the big man, so you probably told your friends you were coming up here to smash some random ass girl, huh? Not your girlfriend, no sir, 'cause that doesn't get you any cool points, does it? They'll have your back though. That's the bro code. But I know something you don't. I know that after that video of me and you got out, Kat started fucking your best friend. That's right, she started fucking Benny for revenge. So I know she'll seduce the answer right out of him. He'll crack and tell the girl of his dreams the truth. The same girl that his best friend snatched from him knowing he was in love with her since they were kids. He'll tell her everything she wants to know, exactly where to find you. And that stuck-up bitch will come running, and I'll be right here waiting when she does. Mckenzie stood up, walked over, and picked up the pickaxe, walked back to Evan, and made his dying hands grip the handle over and over. She did the same thing with the switchblade after wiping it down with the cloth, and then left it in his right hand. At the same time, she heard Kat at the barn entrance. Mckenzie smiled, stood up straight, holding the pickaxe. She started moaning loudly. Kat started shaking from anger. Evan! She yelled and looked around the barn, trying to tell where the moaning was coming from. She got near the front of the tractor, fumbling through the dark. Mckenzie popped out holding the pickaxe, causing Kat to jump back, almost falling over. You! Kat screamed. Evan! She screamed again. Why do I even bother with you? How many times are you gonna stick your meat in junk? He's dead, Mckenzie said softly while smiling. Kat's eyes widened with a look of confusion on her face. Mckenzie walked out of the shadows holding the pickaxe. Kat's face turned to terror, too scared to speak. You're right about one thing, though. You are a victim, bitch, Mckenzie said before driving the pickaxe through Kat's skull. Kat died almost instantly. Her body fell over awkwardly. Her blood was shining in the moonlight through the windows of the barn as it crept across the concrete floor. Mckenzie walked over to her bag and pulled out Kat's phone, wiped it off one more time, and then logged into her social media. She picked one of her many selfies from that night and posted it to her Instagram. She began typing, pretending to be Kat once more. I invited him to make up and caught him cheating again, and he threatened me after catching him? The nerve. Hashtag over it. Hashtag trouble in paradise. Hashtag new boyfriend needed. She hit send, then went over to her bag. She had bought the same outfit at the store twice just for tonight. She quickly took her old clothes off and put the fresh set on. She stuffed the old ones back into the backpack. She then walked back to the barn window while zipping up her pants. She peeped out. The party was still going strong and no one was coming anywhere near the barn. She walked over to where Evan had dropped his phone. After weeks of watching them both, she knew his password too. She opened his social media and typed, "What have I done? God forgive me. I don't want to live without her." Mckenzie hit send. She then placed the phone in his lap, careful not to disturb any of the blood on the ground. She placed Kat's phone near her body as well. She grabbed her backpack and walked towards the door, stopped and looked back. Told you I'd make you two the most famous couple in the city, didn't I? She flicked both of them off and disappeared from the crime scene. She made her way to a giant bonfire where few people were still at. She said hi as she passed by people acting as normal as any other night. One guy offered her a beer. She took it with a thanks and a smile. She sat by the fire, feeling at peace while sipping from the bottle. After some time had passed, she looked around and discreetly threw a piece of the clothes in the fire every few minutes. All she had left was her precious journal. After 15 minutes, she kissed the journal and tossed it in. She watched the flames dance and thought about what she just did. It was making her hot and very horny. "I'm a real piece of work," she said, laughing at herself. Came walking up about 20 minutes later with her hands held up. "Where the hell have you been, girl?" Mckenzie stood up to hug her friend. "Mingling," she replied. Julia nodded in approval. "I told you that ass was too nice to sit up there by yourself." She booty bumped Mckenzie. "Watch all that backside, girl," Mckenzie said, laughing. "Did you meet anybody?" Julia asked, biting her lip and staring at Mckenzie, hoping for a juicy story. Mckenzie answered, "I met a boy and a girl." "Oh, girl, you are a freak. Tell me more." Nothing happened. The conversation went dead. "Well, I got a couple of guys ready to go back to our place to play cards if you're down." Julie then lit a cigarette. "They cute?" Mckenzie asked, while taking the cig out of Julia's mouth and taking a pull. "I don't do ugly. You know me, homie," Julia answered. "Welp." Mckenzie stood up, grabbed her bag. "Let's go get Miss Millie right for the night." Julie and Mckenzie started laughing together out loud. "Girl, you are wild," Julie said, throwing her arms around Mckenzie. "Let's get out of here." "Oh, did you see Kat's social media? Her and Evan are beefing again." She handed the cigarette back. "No, I didn't," Mckenzie answered. "A whole mess, girl," Julie said. "Both of them," Julie and Mckenzie said at the same time. They started walking off back to the car. Mackenzie's own phone got a message in her backpack, but it was on silent, so Mckenzie didn't hear it. It flashed across the screen in the dark of the backpack. It was from her sister, Michaela. It read, "I miss you, Ladybug. Call me soon. I would ask you how school's doing, but I know you're killing it.